Hello everyone, Maestro here. I am the football enthusiast. Hope you're all doing well. Alright, so last night we had the PFA Awards, which is probably the most prestigious award ceremony in the Premiership. It is the one that gets the most attention from fans. Awards for the Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and the Team of the Year was given out for the past season, the 22-23 season. Why they did it so late, seeing we're already into the new season, I don't know, but it is what it is. In this video, I'm giving you a lot of my thoughts on all the decisions, all the winners, ones I agree with, ones I don't agree with. But before we get into that, if you haven't already and you wish to keep up with the channel, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and also turn the bell on for notifications. Let's get into the video. So we're first going to start with the Team of the Year. So right off the bat, Kane, Haaland, Saka as the front three. Odegaard, Rodrigo, De Bruyne making up the midfield, and the defense and goalie is Saliba, Diaz, Stones, Trippier, and Ramsdale. We have 4 Arsenal players, 5 City players, 1 Spurs player or a former Spurs player in Kane, and 1 Newcastle player. So straight up, front 3 and the midfield 3, no issues there whatsoever. They've clearly looked, Kane of course is not a winger, but clearly PFA have gone in the route of just 3 forwards. They're just thinking of 3 forwards, not left winger, striker, right winger. No. They just want to name 3 forwards. That's their criteria. Okay, so no issue with that whatsoever. These for me were the 3 best forwards of last season. I have no complaints. I think all deserving. Midfield, also not really any complaints. I would maybe there might be an argument for Gundogan over Rodrigo. But no issues whatsoever. Odegaard, De Bruyne for me were the 2 best midfielders of the league last year, and Rodrigo was absolutely fantastic as well. And yes, I do think Gundogan maybe would have gone my pick, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but Rodri is also a fantastic choice. It's definitely fitting. Now, the defense. So like with the forward line, they've just gone with 4 defenders because of course Saliba is not a left back. They just went with 4 defenders: Saliba, Diaz, Stones, Trippier. All 4 are completely deserving. I have no issue with this. There are some arguments maybe Ben White over Trippier, maybe Saliba over Diaz, and then put Zinchenko at left back, or maybe put Nathan Aki. I think he was fantastic. I think he deserves a shout. But in general, all 4 of these defenders will probably be my in general picks as the 4 best defenders of last season. They were sensational. Ramsdale is the goalkeeper. Now this is where my issue is. This is where I would outright say I don't think he's deserving of this award. Look, I'm an Arsenal man. I love Ramsdale. What a guy. I don't think he was the best goalkeeper of the 22-23 Premier League season. I would have gone with Alisson. I know that Liverpool had a rough year, but that was not... Alisson played no part in that rough year. He was sensational. I feel very strongly that Alisson for me was the best goalkeeper of last year and is in general the best goalkeeper of the Premiership. So that right there is my 1 hindrance on the Team of the Year. As a whole, the front 3, midfield, the back 4, you can't argue with any of them. Yes, you have preferences maybe with 1 or 2, but in general, they are all deserving of such a recognition within the PFA awards. Ramsdale is the one where I'd be like, well, hold on, I don't agree with this. I think Alisson was better. When it comes to after Alisson, I think Ramsdale can fight with anyone, with Nick Pope and the others. I think he can go head to head with them in terms of fighting for this award, but I just think Alisson for me is the outright best goalkeeper of last year. I understand Liverpool had a rough year, but it was no thanks to Alisson. He was fantastic. Let's now move on to the Player of the Year and the Young Player of the Year. So for the nominees for the Player of the Year was De Bruyne, Haaland, Kane, Odegaard, Saka, and Stones. No issues. 6 fantastic nominees. I wouldn't have nominated Stones, but it's not a big deal. He was fantastic. It's okay. Winner was Erling Haaland. And before we get to that real quick, Young Player of the Year: Caicedo, Ferguson, Haaland, Martinelli, Ramsey, and Saka. Saka wins it. No issues there whatsoever. Now, for those that are wondering, how could Haaland win the Player of the Year but not Young Player of the Year? So it seems that from now on, I guess, you are no longer allowed to win the Young Player of the Year and the Player of the Year. You can't win both. I think that's been a rule for quite some time now. I do remember in the past someone winning both. I think it was Gareth Bale, maybe Hazard. I'm not entirely sure. Someone won both, but it's clear that that's no longer the case. You can't win both. And with Haaland being excluded because he won the Player of the Year, Saka for me is the easy choice. Look, Ferguson, Caicedo, Martinelli, Ramsey were fantastic. With all due respect, not even remotely close to as good as Bukayo Saka. He was sensational last year. And I can't think of any other young player in the Prem last season that I think I would take over Saka. He is, for me, the deserved winner, 100%. Nice little picture with both of them here. Both proven winners, fantastic. Now, we're now going to the main point of this video. So, yes, okay, Erling Haaland won the Player of the Year, and I think deservedly so. But it's not much of a rant, just a little hot take. I kind of have a bit of an issue with calling Erling Haaland the best player of the Premier League. Look, I don't deny, I do think he was the best player of last season. Of the 22-23 season, he was the best player for that season. He broke some ridiculous records. It deserved to be capped off with some recognition of not just the Premier League trophy, also individual awards. So good on him, he deserves it. But as a whole, taking everything into account, not just last season, I feel weird calling Erling Haaland the best player in the Premier League. I think that title still, and has been for quite some time now, belongs to Kevin De Bruyne. For me, Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in the Premier League. I feel very adamant about that. Now, why? Haaland is very one-dimensional. Just this season alone, and just in the last season, when he isn't scoring goals, his effect is extremely limiting. He does have other pieces to play. He can be good on hold-up play, but ultimately, it's the goal scoring where his career goes to live and die. If he scores goals, he will continue to flourish. If he doesn't score goals, the other things he offers will not be enough for him, and his career will die. He is a very one-dimensional player. Whilst Kevin De Bruyne's effect is far more vast, it has a far higher reach. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, all-round players are better than players that are just, have just one job. No, I'm not saying that. A good example to bring up is Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar Jr. So, Neymar Jr. is a more all-round player than Ronaldo. He is. He has more in his arsenal. Neymar has more in his bag of tricks than Ronaldo does. He has more to go off Neymar to help him in the game of football. But it comes down to, and this is key, production levels. What are you producing on the pitch? It's not about what you have in your locker. It's about what you produce on the pitch. And what Ronaldo produces on the pitch, his production levels are so exceedingly high that, yes, with that, of course, Ronaldo is better than Neymar. It's not even close. Neymar has more in his locker, yes. He's more all-round, yes. But production levels is everything. What you produce on the pitch is what's most important. And what Ronaldo produces on the pitch far exceeds Neymar. But with Haaland, and I'd say De Bruyne, that's not the case. Yes, Haaland's production levels for his role as a striker is exceedingly high. And for last season and last season alone, it was higher than De Bruyne's. But as a whole, I would say that what De Bruyne produces as a midfielder exceeds what Haaland produces as a striker. Therefore, I stand by saying De Bruyne is the best player of the Premier League. I feel very confident in saying that. Haaland is terrific. He's amazing. And maybe his production levels will even go even higher. And he will continue to play like he did last season. And those goals will be still coming in, with maybe even more. And maybe De Bruyne will wither away. But as of right now, as of today, which is I believe the 30th of August, 2023, I do not sit well with calling Haaland the best player in the world. He's just a bit too one-dimensional for him. You take away his goal scoring, he becomes almost a liability. Whereas with De Bruyne, he has a huge bag of tricks to help him throughout any situation. And not only that, De Bruyne's production levels are just as high as Haaland's, if not better. Haaland scored, I believe, 36 goals in the league last year. I would still make the case that if they were without De Bruyne last year, or if they are without De Bruyne for the last 5 years, it would be a different story maybe for Manchester City than it would be if they were without Haaland but had De Bruyne. Without Haaland and with De Bruyne, I think they're perfectly fine. With Haaland without De Bruyne, that's an issue, I think. So look, he's 100% deserving of last year's award, but I still think the crown belongs to De Bruyne for the best player in the Premiership. And I feel very confident in saying that. It's a very similar situation with Eden Hazard in his prime in the Premiership. You know, those years where Haaland was winning the Player of the Year, or Bale, or whoever, Kante, I always said to myself, without doubt, that Eden Hazard was the best player in the Premier League. And it's now been the case for De Bruyne pretty much for like the last 5 years. De Bruyne has always, for me, been the best player in the league. These awards, they're just more so celebrate form. But the class of De Bruyne as a whole exceeds Haaland. And for me, Kevin De Bruyne is still the best player in the Premier League. Haaland second. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Comment down below. We're going to end the video there. Hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe for more. Yeah, my general thoughts. I think all the awards were fair. Although Ramsdale getting goalie of the year was a bit iffy. I think I'd give it to Alisson, my personal opinion. But what do you think? Have a great day. And as always, take care of yourself.